Hi guys, coming to you live again. Like I said, I've been trying to do this every week. I'm actually about to record a podcast episode on soul motherhood by choice. So I'm really excited for that interview. But I wanted to hop on here and just kind of offer a little bit of therapist thoughts, advice, prompts, reflections. This is something I'm working on personally, and it's a lot of work I do with my clients, which is like a life audit, kind of assessing where you are now, what's working for you, what's not. I think there's always these moments of questioning, um, what's next, is what I'm doing or where I am, where I really want to be. Am I totally fulfilled? Are my relationships fulfilling me? Is work fulfilling me? For me, there's just so many questions coming up around career and investment in time. And for me, this pull of family and business. I'm a very goal oriented, business oriented person. And I have really loved everything that I've built and everything that I'm doing and working towards. But I'm starting to feel like some of it is not totally fitting right now. And, the work I do with my own coaches or therapists is to work through these reflections and kind of take inventory of everything that's happening in my life and get a really clear understanding of in this moment, in this specific phase of my life, are the ways I'm working fitting? Are the relationships I'm pouring into fitting? Is where I'm putting my time, energy, and money fitting? And I think what can get really difficult is that certain things are appropriate and fit for certain phases of our lives that don't necessarily fit in the current stage of our lives. And I think I find myself still trying to make old things fit. And if you were to stop and reflect, there's probably been a moment in your life, or maybe you're currently in a moment in your life where you're holding on to something that maybe at one time worked well, brought you joy, brought you fulfillment, brought you happiness, but is not quite that anymore. And I've seen that a lot in friendships, again, personally and professionally, where friendships, as they will do, shift and change and kind of take different forms. And because there is such a history there, because there was meaningfulness and value in that friendship previously, we try to hang on to that. And I'd prompt you to think about what sometimes is the consequence of holding on to things that are no longer working, right? And this is again a life audit. So it's all areas of life, is career, friendship, family, relationship and dating, self-care. Where's your relationship with yourself at? Maybe that's the space right now that deserves some more time and energy. It's really for you to kind of stop and take a look at all areas of your life and understand what's going on. I know for me, what comes up when I do this audit or I think about doing this audit is a lot of resistance to potentially scaling back, stepping back, um, reorganizing my life, reorganizing my energy, um, reprioritizing, changing my goals. Uh, that's very challenging for me because I've kind of always been full steam ahead and do everything all the time, all at once. And I'm realizing now at this stage in my life that that is not working. So a lot has come up for me in sort of this forceful way. A lot of the universe is intervening for me in a way that is making me reevaluate a lot of things, which is really interesting. And I'm trying to look at that positively because I can be a stubborn person, and sometimes without the universe intervening in these kind of ways, I don't really stop and assess and evaluate and audit. But I wanted to come on here and share that because it is a lot of work I do with my clients. We do look at all areas of life and see what's going on and what's working, what's not working. And it's personally coming up for me as well right now. So I wanted to get on here and share that with all of you and encourage you guys to be thinking about it. And I think, I had a client say this to me last week where there's like these three or four main areas of his life. and one is always in balance. It's never all balance at one time, and I think that's just the reality of life. I don't think every area of our life is in harmony all at the exact same time. If you've had that experience, I think that's amazing for you, but I think it's the reality of life where certain areas of our lives are going really, really well. And then there's that one area of our life that just maybe needs a little more attention or focus or change or reevaluation. And that's totally normal. Where it gets problematic or harmful is when we aren't attentive to those areas of our life. And I find myself in that position today too. I think there was some things that I just was not willing to be attentive to. I was not willing to, and sometimes not willing, I was just not able to because of everything that I've been going through, and I think that's important to normals as well. Like, there's no judgment when we do these audits, there's no judgment when we do these reflections. It's really for just betterment of ourselves and not trying to beat ourselves up about where we are, where we aren't, something maybe we should have been more attentive to that we aren't, maybe a relationship or friendship we went, go on too long than we should have. No judgments. And I say that, and I'm saying that to myself as well, because it's always also normal to come up some shame, some judgment around these areas of our lives that are not kind of in the space that we want them to be at this moment. But really, really what matters is in the most sort of compassionate way, just evaluating in the most non-judgmental way, just looking at what's going on and being really honest about where you are in your life. I think I think we set all these goals and expectations for ourselves of where we think we should be and what we should be doing. And then we get on social media and we're comparing ourselves to everybody else, and that becomes influential. Um, but it's really important to get really honest and present with your current stage of life. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do now because, well, career has always been a priority and a focus of mine. I'm feeling very differently right now, and that's very difficult for me to accept and to process and to understand, but it's kind of the reality, and it doesn't mean that this phase of my life or kind of the reshifting of priorities is gonna always be this. I'm hopeful and trusting that there's a period of my life where I am really energized by the work, and there's more goals and there's more ambition that's kind of directed towards work. But again, like, this is sort of difficult to kind of reimagine, different periods of your life looking different than you had imagined or looking different than they had before. But staying in a space or forcing old ways, old relationships, old goals, old priorities only makes us feel misaligned, unhappy, probably unmotivated, probably totally not connected to self. So it's a really amazing exercise, as difficult as it can be, as much as it can bring up, to do these audits, to do these reflections, and kind of look at all areas of your life and just check in with yourself and see what's coming up for you. I think constantly, like, there's cues and there's signs really indicating to us what's important right now in this moment, in this phase of life. And we and I have done it, like, can ignore them because they bring up a lot and they might be in conflict with what we thought we wanted. But they're there. Either the universe is sending them to us, our body is telling us, our intuition is telling us. So it's our job to tune into all of those cues that are all around us and start to make some sense of them and make some changes that will actually improve your life, how you feel, how you move through each day. So this is coming from me as a therapist and as a human. It's what I'm navigating as well now. So I hope that you find this helpful. I hope you're enjoying these little lives. Again, I'm trying to get on here more and do more of them. So let me know if they're helpful. Let me know if there's any topics that you want to talk about. I've been a human for 44 years, and I've been a therapist for over 10. So I've seen a lot of things. I've supported a lot of people through many different life stages. So let me know if there's anything specific you would like me to talk about. And thank you so much for being here.